Greetings and thank you for checking out this video. So I have to make a confession, I was not able to beat the last boss without dying. Of course, if you die in Act 6 on the last boss, you get sent back to the beginning of the stage. You can go through it and then fight whatever form you died on, since there's 3 incarnations of the final boss. So I did edit these videos together because I didn't want to have basically like me running through the stage 3 times. So you might notice that I have things like jump and slash when I'm fighting these bosses. Sadly, I just didn't really have the time to sit down and practice them to the point where I was able to kill them without any trouble. So here we have the beginning of this last stage. This is the very aptly named Death Bridge. This took me some time to figure out. It's actually like not that hard. It's just deceptive the way they put it together. Mostly you just have to kind of take your time a little bit while going through it. And, well, you know, as you can see, you just do a lot of jumping and swiping. This guy is very unpredictable. And this is the part that's tricky. If you just run forward, you'll actually run past the birds and they won't bother you. And then you can get that power up there. I forget what this area is called. I think it's called like the Hall of the Demon or something like that. I kind of got lucky on that mace thrower. They can be very random, and sometimes he'll hit you, sometimes he won't. I did mess up here, although I did pretty well with that. But later on I mess up. I mess up over here. You pretty much want spin slash or jump and slash in this area. You see I get hit there a couple times. There we go. But yeah, you do want that because it's really difficult to get past those flying shuriken throwing ninjas. Luckily that's like the only time you see them aside from Act 5. For some reason I remembered there being more in this game than there actually were. I don't know why. Now I really like this part here because you can just jump up into the next area. You don't have to climb the ladder. And if you've ever seen speedrunners do this game, they blow me out of the water. But they also use a lot of cool tricks like that. They'll get hit by birds on purpose and stuff like that to get thrown into the ladders so they're like, you know, a second faster. And you can see that I glitched that guy out there. You can also just take him out if you have spin slash or like the shuriken or something. But it's really just easier to glitch him out. This is another tricky area. If you just kind of take your time and use the enemy's spawn system against it, or use the game's spawn system against it, you're fine. You might also notice there's a lot of stars like etched into the walls and stuff. And I'm kind of surprised that Nintendo let that remain in the game. Especially like on the circular ones, they look a little bit like pentagrams. And that was a big no-no back in the day. Like, you couldn't have that in a Nintendo game. They also took things like crosses and stuff out. They really didn't want people flipping out about it. They kind of still do stuff like that now. But back then it was mostly geared towards religious and occult stuff. Ninja Gaiden, oddly enough, dodged that bullet. Like, they never seem to have gotten censored. We'll see in Ninja Gaiden 2, there's like actually blood and stuff. And the hourglass really helps here. And there's another really strange thing you have to do. You just jump onto that and jump up into the thing before that bird gets you. And in this area, it's basically going to rain hunchbacks. There we go. But if you get that hourglass with a jump and slash or a normal slash before they touch you, you're fine. And we want to get knocked into the boss room by their attacks, which is pretty funny. That's actually, I think, something the speedrunners do too, especially in that area. You deserve praise for making this far, and something something. But even you cannot defeat the masked devil. And I'm not doing my Jaquio voice, sorry. I forgot what it is. No one can beat me. Even your father? I think that was Bloody Moth that I'm doing now. What? Your father was not killed. I think that's Jaquio. He was turned into the masked devil. How did that happen? And they didn't capitalize the H. No. I'm actually glad they leave things mysterious in this game. It will be entertaining to watch father and son fight to the death. Wake up, father. I wonder if you can kill Ryu's father. Like, I never tried that. No use. He thinks only of killing you. So this is my destiny. Moth was telling the truth. What shall I do? I've got to think clearly. Like a ninja. Father's eyes, they show he's controlled like a puppet. If I break the control, what is controlling him? Could it be that conspicuous orb in the center of the room? That's it. I love this song too. Unfortunately, we won't hear it very long because we instantly spin slash that thing to death. You really do kind of want spin slash in these fights. You can also use something called slash canceling, which is something I didn't master, which is why I ended up dying. Where am I? Ryu, are you Ryu? Yes, father. Arg, he's awake. It's a terrible Jaquio voice. The Jaquio! He's not just Jaquio, he's the Jaquio. You both will die. Watch out! That's probably one of the worst special effects in the game. This game has pretty good graphics and it looks great, and I love this scene. Your day has come, Jaquio, but some of the effects and things just, I don't know, they weren't all that good. So I spin slashed him again and got him to like 0 life, and had to hit him a second time. But yeah, I didn't master slash canceling. You alternate between down and B, and you kind of glitch the game out, and he can slash like real fast. Problem is I didn't get it down right, and I kind of need it against the bosses. So Irene's happy, Ryu's safe. Let's go, father. Let's get out of this temple of darkness. Ryu, wait. Before we do, the demon statues, we've got to throw them from the temple. While we've still got time before the black moon shines. It sounds like some folk song or some shit. Ryu, what's that? It's the conveniently shining black moon. Is it a lunar eclipse? That must be it. That's what the black moon meant. I know I'm kind of making fun of this game, but I actually really love it. And I love the stories. Yeah, they're a little corny and cheesy in some ways, but I think it was kind of supposed to be like that. Like, it's supposed to be like movies of the time and stuff. And yeah, there's the last boss with jump and slash. Of course, this was all edited. I died. I could beat Jaquio and I could beat him, but for some reason I couldn't get both of them together. So, and I have to move on to other games, so I just kind of like bit the bullet and ran through the stage again. Ryu, I haven't gotten much longer. This temple is about to break apart. Take that woman and escape. That's also why you see my lives go down in each scene. What are you saying, father? I can't just leave you. Ryu, you are a man now. You have your big boy hair. My destiny is tied to the demon statue. Ryu, good luck. Father! 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 Interesting symbolism that his father dies in this game. You can take that how you want it. I won't go and explain philosophical things in video games. I thought about doing that, but maybe someday, maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to sound like IGN or like one of those shit companies, Kotaku or something. I'll leave that to them. They can fart out of their mouths. So yeah, this is a pretty cool explodey scene, I guess. There's something I didn't realize about that fortress that comes into play later on in the series. So next game I play, next Ninja Gaiden game, pay attention to this fortress and compare it to something else. It's kind of a spoiler, so sorry. Ryu! This is Sea Swallow. Oh, she swallows. This is Foster. We detected the explosion from the satellite. Job well done. You're to kill Ryu Hayabusa. You know, like in this day and age, that would be a cell phone and not like a secret radio and a pendant. What? Kill Ryu? That's right. Then you are to steal the demon statues. You know, I guess if they kidnapped her, they would take her phone, so maybe it would be good to have this. So that was your plan all along, Foster. I'll get you. That's basically what he says. Ryu, I get 2 kinds of payment. The first I have already received. Oh my. The second is you, Foster. He wants Foster. One thing about like the way they did the characters is that their necks are kind of messed up. I mean, they're mostly well drawn. It's just a couple scenes. She's right in front of me. I should really be reading the things, and they kiss. So that's his prize is Irene, who he doesn't even know her name. What's your name now that I kissed you? Irene. Irene Liu. So I guess that's true love. If someone shoots you with a tranquilizer dart and you, like, still love them, that's true love right over there. The darkness is finally over. And this is a great scene. Yeah, like I said, the cutscenes have some problems, but they also have, like, awesome, memorable scenes like this, or Ryu standing in front of the fortress, or, you know, other things. I guess Jaquio smiling maniacally. So that's it for Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of disappointed that I wasn't able to get a full no-death run. It was still a pretty decent run, all in all. I'm happy about it. I never beat the game before, and I think that might have had something to do with me not being able to get the last 2 bosses down pat. If I ever try this again, I have a feeling like I'll have an easier time with them, because I wouldn't have like that like excitement that, oh yeah, I'm finally gonna beat Ninja Gaiden. Maybe I should just run through the game and beat it a couple times before trying to no-death the bosses. That would have worked in retrospect. I kind of have a habit of breaking the levels down in a kind of weird way because of the Mega Man games. They have the boss rush or boss rematches, if you want to call them that, where you have to fight the 8 robot masters again. And I often will fight one at a time and just keep going through it until I get it perfect. If I die, I restart it. The problem with that is I already know the robot masters and how they move, so the rematches aren't really an issue at all. Like, it's just kind of going through them without taking much damage is the trick. But yeah, so they say the end, thank you for playing, and see you next. Tecmo. See you next. And see you next time? So I guess they were already planning a sequel, which was probably cool. The sequel is really great. As for this game, I already wrote the review out for it. I gave it an A-. I think I gave it an A-. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, it's an A-. It would be like a 9.0. Like a really low A. Because it does have problems. It has some bugs and glitches. They're not bad. They don't break the game. But they're there. It's also kind of a strange game because it's a sort of title that you're either really going to love or you're going to hate it because of the way that they designed it. You have to kind of go through the stages very systematically because of the way things respawn. It's almost like they didn't want you just jumping over enemies or just bowling through things like it was Super Mario Brothers. So they put in that weird respawning system. That infuriates a lot of people, and I kind of understand why. but at the same time is really clever because you have to do certain areas in certain ways and use strategy, which kind of makes it like a really tightly constructed and well put together platformer that's on par with stuff like Castlevania and, well, even Super Mario Brothers. I know I used that as an example of like an easier game, which it is compared to this, but it's also a very well made game. But yeah, so you're either going to love that aspect of this title or hate it, and I think plays a big role. Now, is this game as unfair as some people say it is? I would say definitely not. I've seen, reviews and all over the years where people say, oh, this game's so cheap, it does this, it does that. Yeah, it can be cheap, but you do get infinite continues. There's points in the game, especially towards the end, where they refill your health in the boss fights. Of course, the part where they throw you all the way back to the beginning of the last stage, if you die on the last boss, that's pretty damn cheap. I have to concur with that. But at the same time, it's not that bad, especially if you have the last stage mastered, or at least down pat in such a way that you can run through it, grab spin slash, and then one hit kill the last boss. It's really not the end of the world. I think people kind of blew this game's difficulty out of proportion. I've played a lot of games where if you die and run out of lives, or even die once, and these are console games too, which is kind of like really baffles my mind. But if you die or run out continues or something, it's game over and you have to start from the beginning. So the only way around that would be to save state, which is, depending on how much you abuse and use it, it's a mild to very high form of cheating, or, use Game Genie codes or something. Now, of course, I will say, I do use save states pretty often. I use them when I practice these stages, mostly because I don't really have time to keep running through games until I get to the last level or whatever I'm practicing. If I did have more time, I would actually run through the whole game. And in that case, I would run through the whole game and do a single episode as a no-death run. Unfortunately, I don't really have that kind of time right now. But, so yeah, like I said, this game isn't as cheap as a lot of other games I've seen, especially stuff on like the Sega Genesis. There's a game called Decap Attack. If you run out of continues, that's it. You gotta start from the beginning. There's an actual possibility of failure. With Ninja Gaiden, if you sat down and played it long enough, or you left your NES on or something, and just kept doing the last stage, you would get it. You don't have to worry about going back to the beginning. As for the rest of the game, like the story and the graphics, like all that stuff is great. Like, okay, I know it's maybe not compared to modern technology, but as an NES game goes, if you like 8-bit art style, this is a really nice looking game. Like I said, some of the side profiles, it's like the artist couldn't draw necks properly. So like Irene and Ryu have they're just a little too long, their necks. Like Ryu has like a really bizarre muscle in his neck, or maybe it's just a vein that's about to pop from all the frickin' traumatizing stress he's been through fighting demons and watching his father die. I don't know. But, like that looks kind of weird, but aside from that, the cutscenes look really nice. They have this great stripped down look to them. They look like something out of maybe a comic book, or even an early anime. Like if you look at some of the anime from like the early 80s and late 70s, like they didn't really have a lot of animation. So it's kind of reminiscent of that stuff. Maybe that was kind of the point, actually. Maybe it wasn't a matter of limitation. It's not something I thought about, actually. As for the story, it's not that amazing. People would actually call into Nintendo Power and ask them what would happen next. That was apparently a thing, according to Nintendo Power at least. I don't know how trustworthy a source they were. but apparently that was true. I can kind of believe it, because if you were young, like you're 6 or 7 or 8 or even 9, you might not be able to get too far in the game, and you might want to know what happens next in the story. So I guess you would call a hotline. They didn't have the internet back then, which is kind of funny. Like I said, the story is nothing really amazing, but the way they did the characters and the music and the artwork, it all kind of blends together very well into something that can kind of pull the viewer in. So, that's something to their credit. Someday we'll do Ninja Gaiden 2. I would say that's a much better game in general. It's just put together very well, and I think the story and stuff is a little bit better. So thank you so much for watching, guys. It's been really great playing through this game. I am going to take a break from the Ninja Gaiden hardcore difficulty, well, not quite hardcore, but higher difficulty type of games for a while. Maybe do some more Deus Ex and a few PlayStation 2 games or something, which are much easier in general. I will do Ninja Gaiden 2 before a year goes by. I'll say that. Maybe I'll do it in the spring or something. So once again, thank you guys. I will be back with more. And until next time, good luck and happy gaming.